We love Gilding Flakes. We bring them in from Creative Expressions in England just for you. And we have 3 new gorgeous collections.
Silver Dream, Persian Dawn, and Gemstones. And wait till you see what we did with them.
Exactly. Come play with us. Here they are, and we've got the
Silver Dream,
Dawn.
the Gemstones, and the Persian Dawn. And it's kind of hard to see what they look like unless you're looking directly at them. I love this mix of colors. Look at that. You can really see it once you get into it. You've got coppers, you've got golds, and you've got this sort of this chocolate and a little bit of ruby in there.
And this is the Persian Dawn. So it's got flakes of the red and a green in there
it's got
too.
that copper in there. It's just a little bit, it's like a medium colored mix.
Yeah.
This one is, the Gemstones is a bit of
darker.
a darker mix. And then you've got Silver Dream. And this is kind of like a dream. Look at that.
It's silver and gold primarily.
You've got just touches of green in there, but almost, oh my gosh.
Gorgeous.
It's
just gorgeous.
Beautiful. And that's one way to look at them, but then we want to see that on a project.
Let's see what we can do. Now here is a brand new way to use them, and I'm very excited about this. So we're going to, well, I guess you're going to show us.
I am, but go ahead.
This is the Quilt Blocks Dazzles. Now, Quilt Blocks Dazzles is not available in black. So, oh my goodness, what do we do?
Okay.
You can take either the silver or the gold.
And take your StazOn ink pad. And I already did this, but very simply, you just take that pad and you just go over it like that. And when you're done, it turns it a different color. You can even put on a second layer if you want, and let it dry for a minute, and it'll be ready to go.
But the Gilding Flakes part of it, that's what is behind the Dazzles, and isn't that stunning?
Right, and that starts with cardstock and double-sided adhesive.
We've used that a lot lately, haven't we?
We have a white piece of cardstock. I like having double-sided adhesive around just all the time. You're going to remove one side of it, and I had one side started. Okay, it's here somewhere. So you remove one side and then you stick it to the cardstock.
There we go.
Just like so. I removed the back, stuck it to the cardstock, and then you remove the top layer. So now the double-sided adhesive is stuck to your cardstock. I get right into my Gilding Flakes.
What's nice about the Gilding Flakes is that they go a long way because you are going to use every tiny scrap of it.
That's right. So you can actually start with a lot on there if you want. Just sort of pounce it around all over. And then you start pressing that in place a little bit. I like to press it in place first with my fingers.
I think it's a good idea.
To make sure that it's going to go flat directly onto that adhesive. Then start brushing it off a little bit and get out your scoochy sponge. Now, scoochy sponge is one way. I think it's the best way of removing it quickly. You just little circular motions. You can also
stop right there because we can, go ahead and lift it. But you can see all the kind of chunks down here, but how smooth it is getting right there. And all you were doing was just a couple of strokes.
Right, so just a little bit and it's already stuck on there.
Yeah.
I'm just sort of removing the excess now.
Now, all of that is going to be reused.
It's going to go right back into that little jar. I'm going to do that off camera in a moment, but you really want to do this, by the way, with the fan off, or it really is going to go everywhere. And then this will just sort of fine tune it and get all the little extra bits off. And when you're done, you have this beautiful piece. And look at that.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Nice, shiny look.
Okay, be thinking about that for things.
And then you're going to peel off that Dazzle, and we already made it black with the black StazOn ink. Just peel it off and stick it right down. And there you go. You just press that in place, and then you can cut about a 1/16 of an inch outside of that to get a nice border.
And here it is placed on our card. We've taken those quilt blocks and turned them on point to make a little fancier shape, and we've added the silver jewel dazzles right into the corners, And we also have, there you go, you can really see those. How pretty is that?
And that's done with the Nature's Touch papers. We just sort of debuted those the other day.
Right.
So that's those nice tile. And I love the greens there. Even the border pieces were turned black on those Dazzles. And then that middle piece is stacked up on foam tape.
Right. And then we've got the card greetings Dazzles that is used for that hello, and on the inside for the thank you. So just really stunning. And it's nice to have something, again, that can go masculine or feminine.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that. So rethink your Dazzles, think about which ones you can use, and in the Paper Wishes catalog, there's a page with the Gilding Flakes and lots of Dazzles that we found would work really well. Now we're going to go into stamping.
Beautiful.
And look at this. This is the Christmas Wonder paper. That's what that is.
And those are with the Persian Dawn flakes. So you can see there's a little bit of silver, a lot of copper, and it's just really popping.
Now this is using a new penny black stamp. This is a cling stamp.
Right.
So it's not clear, it's cling. For some reason, and I've talked to these people, I don't know why they call them slapstick when you get such beautiful, beautiful art. So we're in discussions about that. And you're going to show how to do this?
I am.
Okay.
So I've got my craft sheet here. I have flitter glue. So the elements of this are going to be that stamp, which you're actually going to put on an acrylic block. You've got your Persian Dawn Gilding Flakes, a cosmetic sponge. I've got my scoochy foam ready, and the flitter glue. So I've got,
You don't need very much, right?
Yeah, it'll go on in a pretty thin layer, and I'm going to use my sponge to apply that. So get that all over your stamp. And what I like to do is pull out a thin layer.
And I think that's important because otherwise you're liable to get globs.
Right. You don't want it too goopy. You don't want it going down into the recesses of the stamp because then that'll kind of squish out. And am I going to do the whole thing or part of it? Let's see. Trying to get that
Let's just
all
do one section.
over.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get the top side of the wreath there. That's what I want to make sure that it's in a nice layer all the way across so we get a nice clean stamped image. So I've got the paper ready and I'm going to stamp that right about on the center, push down, make sure that I've got that. The important part of using the flitter glue is to get an even coverage of that glue all the way across the stamp. That's really easy to do if you're able to. Oh, that really stuck on there. And if you get it too thin, it's going to be too sticky. I'm hoping that I didn't get it too thin, but okay. So we've got that on that image, and you can wait a little bit for that to get tacky enough to be just perfect, but I don't usually wait on the Webisodes, so let's go ahead and put the Persian Dawn right on there, scoot it all around, all over the image.
Let me bring this in. I'm just concerned that get that glue away from it.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll move that onto here.
There you go.
And then we're going to start, I'm pressing it in place a little bit with my fingers, and then I get the scoochy sponge and start fine-tuning the details. And you can see them popping up right
That's
away.
what I love, is it just becomes magic as it appears. It's so, so pretty.
Let me go ahead and tap that off just
and
a
again,
little bit.
you're going to use all of these crumbs. Every single one of them is going to be used. And as you do the scoochy foam, you can see that it continues to define it. Right.
You can really see that. So it's just, and that's a pretty simple process. I didn't really have to do all that much to accomplish that.
In the finished card, some of the red jewel Dazzles, the tiny ones, are really covering that beautiful wreath, and a simple bow has been added. And I do think it's just wonderful on the Christmas Wonder paper. That just seems so perfect for it. And down here, I just showed you the greetings Dazzles. Well, we have the long Christmas greetings. So you can see that Merry Christmas right there. And the inside is not finished, so I'm not going to have anything to show you there.
It's just a beautiful look. That's that spectacular wreath on there.
Really, really pretty. Now we have another stamp. This is also by Penny Black.
And this is moving into the gemstones, Gilding Flakes.
This is this very significant collection of trees, and it's just stunning. Again, it is the cling rubber. Look at all the colors that come.
So
And-
the same process.
Yeah.
You're going to put the glue onto the stamp, you're going to stamp it, and then you're going to add the gilding flakes, and what a gorgeous look. Even all those little birds, that's part of the stamp as well.
It's just
One
amazing,
big
all
stamp.
that color. And you would think, oh my gosh, what labor it must take to do that. Well, it doesn't.
It doesn't
It's
take
really
long.
nice.
You're going to get gilding flakes on your little fingers,
Yes.
like this, but it comes, I'm trying to show you, where are my hands?
There you go.
There we go. But it comes off very
Yeah.
easy, soap and water.
And the thank you down there is with the 130 tiny words and phrases Dazzles. So you can see it's nice to just have a little greeting at the corner. We just have a ribbon the ends have been glued behind our paper, and just right there, so it makes it just really simple. Now, something else that's been done on this card is the edging. So you can see the matting right there. That we've got all of these beautiful metallics. So we added the silver linen. This is the 12 by 12 paper. It has
So
this
it's
wonderful texture.
Just matted on there. And I like that the piece, after it was matted, it was placed on the bottom edge of the card. So you've got
Yeah.
that nice green around 3 edges, and you've got the ribbon wrapped around the upper left corner.
So we've done a stamping, and
Right.
we've done making a background, putting Dazzles on top.
Right.
Another little thing I want to show you is I have been taping a DVD that we'll be releasing in January by Teresa. But one of the techniques she did was to take the foiled fancies and do the gilding flakes on them. And I
How
thought it was
wonderful.
just so pretty. So I want
I
to make
love
sure you
that,
saw
right
that.
on the edges like that
Yeah.
too. Very simply, I would just use a cosmetic sponge with that flitter glue and
And
just
I
sort
did.
of tap and just sort of tap it around the edges of that, and then add your flakes.
So, Teresa, you get a little plug in here. Now, how about a stencil? Wow.
Beautiful.
This is the Viney Wreath stencil, and not only do you get that great big wonderful wreath, but you also have a bow.
A bow and roses and little
Yes.
leaves and flowers, and
But
it's
here it
absolutely
is.
beautiful.
And this is using the Silver Dreams, right?
No, this one is using the Persian Dawn,
Oh,
because
I'm
it's got
sorry.
a little bit. It's
Oh,
got
I
silver,
see.
but it's got more of that copper and the red in
Right.
there.
Okay.
So I'm just going to show you what that would look like. I'm not going to do the full demo because you know what those flakes look like now. But taking a cosmetic sponge, I would use stencil tape to mask off the bow
idea.
and the roses, and then I would take some of that flitter glue. So remember, I would get some of that flitter glue, and I would just go right through the stencil, just like this, and I would pounce it through until I've got glue all the way through the stencil. The nice thing about the flitter glue is that you don't have to hurry, because they actually
Yes.
suggest that once you have that glue on there, you'll lift that stencil off, and then you let that dry for a minute, 2 minutes. You've got a little bit of time before you add your gilding flakes.
Right. And then the gilding flakes come on. You saw how wonderful that is. Now, this is with the bow, a fabric bow, actually crepe ribbon.
Right.
But let me clump this together. If you wanted to do the bow out of the same
Out of the
flake,
stencil,
that
yeah,
would work
that's
too.
a nice look too.
Did this on black, just like you did here, and cut right next to the edge so that you really had the definition.
Right. Again, that's with the Christmas Wonder papers. That's
Yeah.
what you're seeing, that little
So,
houndstooth at the bottom. Beautiful.
Very pretty, very, very pretty. And with this, we'll get in closer so you can see, we did add the gold jewel Dazzles. You can see that those are adding, you could certainly have done copper, you could have done various ones, silver.
Right.
And then the Season's Greetings is done with the 3-pack of Christmas greetings. You get it in 3 finishes.
So
that,
lots of easy ways to add those sentiments on there.
piece
Oh,
right
just
there.
a little bit
Just
more.
that little
That's
sprig.
another extra piece from
Right.
that stencil that
It's
was
right
stenciled
there.
right on there.
There
so
we go.
Really easy ways to use something that makes such a
Yes.
pop and a shine, and it's a beautiful finished look with the Cosmic Shimmer Gilding Flakes.
They're gorgeous, and people are going to be amazed at what you did.
Have fun.